One down, three to go. Well, in this series anyway, between the Cavs and the Celtics. 15 to go in the Cavs' chase for a championship, recapping Game 1, a 113-100 win for the Cavs here at Quicken Loans Arena. Chris Fedor, Joe Vardon, Chris Haynes, and Joe, coming into this one, we knew LeBron-James, 10th postseason, leader of the team, undefeated in playoff debuts. We knew that he was going to try and set the tone. We just didn't have an idea of how he was going to go about that. What did you think of the way that he approached Game 1 against the Celtics?
I mean, he was a madman for 6 minutes, and that's just the 6 minutes on the floor. I mean, I think he was really kind of chomping at the bit the last couple days. I think he was concerned about how Kyrie, to a much lesser degree Kyrie, but how Kyrie, Kevin, and some of the other guys who've never been in the playoffs, how they would respond. And I think he wanted to almost make them play well. And so what he did in the first quarter is a couple things. When he had an opportunity, he attacked to keep the game flowing. He moved the ball when he could. But defensively, he was in Evan Turner's shorts for 6 minutes. I mean, Evan couldn't get anywhere. I mean, he was trying to move on the perimeter without the ball and couldn't get from one spot to the other because LeBron was so far up his shirt. And it was to the point there was 6:45 left in the opening quarter, and LeBron throws up his hand and says he needs to come out. That's how hard he played, and that was the tone that he tried to set.
And I thought it was very, very telling. The first play of the game offensively for the Cavs, they went to Kevin Love. Kevin Love, 6 years in Minnesota, never played in the postseason. Yes, he played for Team USA, helped them win a gold medal, but this was his first playoff game today, and they went to him early and often, struggled early, rebounded in the second half.
Well, reason being, Kyrie never played in the postseason before, but like I've said, and a number of people have said it as well, you didn't have much concern about Kyrie. If you can score 57 points against the Spurs and 55 against the Portland Trailblazers, you're going to be all right against the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. But Kevin Love, that was a guy that they knew they needed to force feed to get him the ball, get him some touches, because Kevin Love has had trouble manufacturing points when he's just not getting the ball or getting his number called. So LeBron took it upon himself to go out there and say that, hey, without you, we don't reach the promised land. He's been saying that the last couple of days. Kyrie is going to bring it. LeBron is going to bring it. Love, we need you to bring it as well. But in order for Love to bring it, he has to have help from LeBron and Kyrie and those guys, and that's what happened tonight.
You know, today was LeBron's 10th postseason opener. He's played. This is his 10th postseason. Today's game was his lowest output in any postseason opener, the 20.6 and 7. And I don't think anybody would say that he played poorly. I think he played really well. It's just how he chose to affect the game.
Yeah, and going back to Kevin, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. The thing that really stands out to me here, Chris, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. It's something that LeBron talked about in the postgame. Kevin was aggressive. Kevin was playing in the post. He didn't float out there to the perimeter the whole time. He saw that he had an advantage inside. Jonas Jerebko guarding him at times. Kelly Olynyk, who's better off when he's playing a finesse kind of game out to the three-point line. That kind of aggressiveness from Kevin. He was making an impact in the game even when his shot wasn't falling, and that's what the greats do.
What I like about what Kevin Love did in the second half is that I think he really did get to a frustrating point. And he said, like, I can't play like this. Because as I'm writing it right now, he was a couple of hours away from the narrative being he can't perform, his inability to perform in pressurized situations. A couple of hours from that type of situation. And blowing and having to go through all that up until Tuesday's game.
Right, in Game 1.
In Game 1, exactly. So he having to go through that. But what I liked about him in the second half is in the post. He got the ball in the post. He didn't try to do a whole bunch of moves or any counter moves. He took it right into the chest of some of these guys, knowing that, hey, I'm either going to get fouled or I'm just going up and something's going to happen. And I like that approach tonight, and that's what got him to the free throw line 6 times in the second half. He did it strong, he was forceful, and he was adamant in how he was going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the box score looks really good, but I love the way you said that, Chris, because I was thinking in the second quarter that he's a couple minutes away from not being able to play in the fourth. What David Blatt was watching in that second quarter, he had to be thinking, I can't play him if this game's on the line.
Trish could put Trish or Moskov in there.
Especially the way Thompson was playing. I mean, he was really good. And so the way Kevin turned it around for himself in the third quarter is really important.
Big three tonight, 69 points combined. Kyrie-Irving, Kevin Love, LeBron-James, they all said it in the postgame. We got together. We created this big three. We know that we have to set the tone. They were terrific. 69 points of the 113. But the Cavs bench, the bench has been a point of frustration at times for David Blatt, a point of frustration for fans at times. Going up against the Boston Celtics bench, the number one scoring bench in the NBA, the Cavs bench was outscored big time, 26 points to be exact. But they made plays. They made an impact.
Tristan Thompson was the catalyst of that bench. He came in, he was borderline Shaqness out there. When he was
Shaqness.
I would go Shaqness. I think the way he was pounding the glass, and tonight, he's used to getting those offensive rebounds and bringing them right back down.
Yeah.
But he was getting it and going right back up and smashing and cramming it. And just like Joe mentioned, the way Thompson was playing, Blatt had to been thinking, like, hey, man, I'm not. Look, let's think about Blatt for a minute, too.
Yeah.
If Blatt loses this game, the narrative and the storyline goes to him. Is Blatt way over his head? Is Brad Stevens out coaching him? You said Brad Stevens is going to out coach him throughout this series.
No. I said he's got the coaching advantage.
Same thing. So
he doesn't have the players.
Same thing. So basically, Blatt had a lot to lose in this game as well. He could have easily went second half. Hey, Thompson, you're in. Thompson, Moskov, Kevin Love, wait, sit it out. But he didn't. He stuck it through. Kevin Love came through. So people came through on all ends of the spectrum. But like you said, the bench, Tristan Thompson, man, he was big.
I just thought it was so interesting that game one here of the NBA playoffs for this team followed the script that the season followed. If you think about it, beginning of the season, the Cavs start 19-20, and there are questions. And you're starting to wonder, okay, is Kevin Love the right piece of the big three? What about David Blatt? Is this team really a championship contender? Early on in this game, Boston gets off to a great start, 31-27 at the end of the first quarter, and you're thinking, interesting. Maybe these tough, feisty Celtics are going to give the Cavs a go here in this 7-game series. Then the second half, the Cavs find their footing, they get their rhythm, and they show that they have way too much firepower for a team like Boston.
Right. I mean, it was almost to the point where you're sitting there and and Boston takes a lead, or their deficit from 20 down to 12, and you're almost saying, well, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Because the Cavs had just kind of had taken over the game to the point where there was, it really was not in doubt. I guess just, going forward, the question is, can they,
Right. Did you see anything today that makes you believe Boston can get a game in this series, Joe?
I saw some things that make me wonder.
Okay.
I picked a sweep. I'm not going to back off of that. But Isaiah Thomas appears to be legitimate, and he's kind of hard to deal with. He comes off the bench, but he'll play a majority of the minutes. If they get more of an output from Olynyk and Zeller, there's some opportunity there.
I'm sticking with, like Joe, sticking with my sweep, as I called it.
Okay.
I'm a man of my word. But with that being said, can they get a game? Of course they can get a game.
Okay.
If they're going to get a game, it's going to be at Boston, though.
Yeah.
Because they fight hard. And we've seen out here, the Cavs just gave themselves such a sizable lead that any type of run was going to be negated by them because they had the talent to do so. But in Boston, that could be a different scenario. But I still think the Cavs will swing.
Cavs probably won't have to make too many adjustments. Played pretty well tonight, 113-100 the final. Boston, though, probably going to have to make some adjustments. What do you expect Boston to do differently in Game 2?
You know what? I'll tell you this. The game kind of got out of hand when they start letting Kevin Love go out there and do what he do.
Mm-hmm.
They forced, I wouldn't say force, but they put LeBron in situations where he was more of a facilitator tonight.
Yeah.
I think they want to still ride that boat, see where that goes. Allow Kyrie-Irving to go off, because you ain't stopping Kyrie-Irving. He's just out there to score, period. That's what he does. But Kevin Love, once he got going, things just went berserk from that standpoint. So if they can really have a solid, because they start putting Jay Crowder on Kevin Love and start putting smaller guys, and I think that's what got Kevin Love's confidence up. Keep a big guy on him, whether it's Olynyk or Brandon Bass. Keep a big guy on him, and I think they'll put themselves in a better situation to come out on top. With that being said, J.R. Smith didn't have a great game. You know what I mean? Iman Shumpert didn't have a great game.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things that the Cavs could say, hey, we didn't bring our A game as well.
And you mentioned Kyrie, 30 points, 11 of 21 from the field, hits his first 5 3-pointers. You want to talk about a guy who just loves the big stage. What answer can Boston have for a guy like Kyrie? Isaiah Thomas said after the game that they'd like to force Kyrie into being more of a facilitator. I don't know how exactly that's going to happen, but there haven't been a lot of teams, Joe, that haven't had an answer for Kyrie when he's playing alongside LeBron and Kevin.
Kyrie had the second-best playoff debut in Cavs history, only to LeBron's triple-double in his playoff debut here. The 30 points, it was incredible. I mean, we've talked about it before.
Yep.
There is no stage, I believe, at this point that's too big for him.
Game 2, Tuesday night, Cavs take a 1-0 series lead against Boston, 113-100. 3 more to go in this series, 15 more if the Cavs want to win that championship. For Joe Vardon, Chris Haynes, I'm Chris Fedor. We'll talk to you for Game 2.